Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Previously, we explored um, career paths that high performing data analysts could explore, and today we're going to supplement that by looking at salary ranges for those key roles. So, if you recall, if you've seen it or if you're new to it, this was the graphic that I was demonstrating where you have four potential business streams that you can move towards. You've got people, which looks at people management and leadership, so your team leader, your senior manager, and that sort of stuff. You've got technical, so that's developing in your technical code. So you've got your engineering and your data scientists and that sort of stuff. Project, now that can span many, many things, can be quite varied. Um, but for something that a data analyst could move towards, typically your business analyst family. So that's what we'll discuss. Domain, so the characteristic of that is retaining that key data analyst role. You might not be ready to jump ship, or you're looking at opportunities that just aren't coming up and being available for you. So, domain is changing your focus of the data that you're working on, but still retaining that key skill set. So I'll explore the people, technical, and project roles and the salary bands with that, and domain and data will be wrapped up into one data domain stream. Here we go. I've gone online to Australian salary websites. So you got your Seek, so that's where jobs are physically advertised, and you get those salary ranges. Also, Glassdoor, Talent, um, and a few others. Also, trying to use my own knowledge to um, identify the appropriate ranges. Now, a caveat here: obviously, you might be in one of these roles and you're earning less than the minimum, more than the maximum, that sort of thing. It's just trying to use stats and give an indicator of perhaps you're at data analyst and you can go, okay, what sort of ranges can I move towards? What sort of next steps can I go with? So, what we'll do is we'll explore each of these four streams in isolation and then we'll wrap it up at the end with how data analysts could move towards what particular roles and so on. So starting with the data stream, so people in this channel will be focusing on I am a data analyst or I am a senior data analyst. Where am I going? What am I earning? Just giving a bit of guidance at the junior end as well. So there's five roles displayed. You've got your junior analyst. So that might be someone who's just moved from customer service with no particular university background and they're moving into their first data role, or your graduate analysts, so people who have just finished their university degree or nearly finishing, they don't have any business experience yet, so they're stepping into their first physical data role. And you can see here that they're ranging between starting around the 60 mark, $60,000 Australian, and between 75 and 80,000 in the upper end. Your data analyst, so the core role that this channel wants to focus on. There's quite nice starting point around the 80,000 and up to, but not quite the $120,000 mark. The senior data analysts generally start at that $120,000 mark, and they can move towards and above the 140, but not quite into that 150 mark. The senior data analyst is a natural progression for the data analyst. Most teams will have that progression, but not always. Some teams might be called a senior analyst, but it's only in name, not quite in nature, so you can get a bit of ambiguity there. Your technical data lead, so that is kind of in line with a team leader, but there's no people management responsibility here. And only certain organizations will have it where there's the complexity and the budget for that. And your technical data lead or your solution lead and several other names that might go by, essentially you need to have that ownership and understanding of the software, the technical code, all the key stakeholders, the projects going on, the complex tasks, that sort of stuff. So that's your data stream. Moving on, next we'll look at the people stream. So I've kept it short at just these 3 key roles. And now your technical data lead kind of sits in between these 2 streams, but I've kept it just for the more senior data movement. Now, in the people stream, you've got learning and development coach. This is more categorized by someone who really enjoys understanding the technical side of things, how software works, but they might not be so much excited anymore about productivity, output, tasks, reporting, that sort of stuff. So they might be bringing, as new people come into the organization, might be teaching them about the key software, the key data skills that they need, or doing refresher courses and that sort of stuff. Quite a good range here, but you're probably going to get a little bit stuck at the top end, hit a bit of a ceiling. The next role you can see is the team leader. So a very natural progression for either a data analyst or a senior data analyst, where there's a succession plan in place to move them towards that team leader role. And they've got quite a nice range, starting at, say, the top end of 130 and probably maximum at least at 160, maybe even close to the 170. So that's quite nice. Now you're doing people management here. You're doing, annual leave, performance reviews, motivation, that sort of stuff. Still data, but not so much in the technical code anymore. From there, you're jumping into the senior management role. They're going to be looking after several teams, data teams, and team leaders reporting into them. So a much higher responsibility in that role, and probably the highest maximum salary that you'll see today in this chart. They'll be looking at data strategy within their department, as well as talking to heads of across other departments and how data strategy fits in with other business strategy and key vision pillars and that sort of stuff. Moving on, we can look at project. As I said, project can mean many, many things. It can go across many streams and many deliverables required. But from a data analyst perspective, particularly if you're really good at communicating with your business stakeholders, understanding their needs, able to talk to engineers and translate, then the business analyst is really a natural jump that you can move towards. The business analyst family can be an analyst for the business. It can be a technical analyst or a tech BA. You can move towards the developer's end as well. So it can mean quite a few things. And with projects, often you'll see contractors and their salary can be much further above these ranges. However, there's other considerations with that. They have a lot more pressure on their head. They don't get paid for sick leave, for annual leave, superannuation, potentially, that sort of thing. So this is more of a full-time focus. And the business analyst, again, a good range from just below the 110 to the 140 mark. After you have some experience in that realm, you can move towards a senior business analyst, which can get you towards the 150 or more mark. Both of those roles can move naturally towards a project manager role. And in project manager, you are taking charge of a stream or multiple streams and owning them end to end, organizing the resources, time, budget accordingly. And again, that can start bumping you up even higher towards the 160 mark. And then your senior project manager, which if you're across many different streams and departments in one project or across many projects, there's a lot of responsibility in your head, and accordingly, you've got a really good salary range up to as much as $180,000. Probably a lot more than that as well, but just in terms of the Australian job salary websites that I've looked at. Finally, looking at the technical stream. So the bottom 3, we're looking at data scientist, data governance analyst, and data engineer. That's probably your natural progression from your data analyst or your senior data analyst. You may have to have certain study behind you to go into those as well, or network correctly, or have a sort of bridging learning program to get you towards that. So just to call out there. So if you're a data analyst who really loves their modeling, using SQL and Python, If you're someone who loves doing deep dives with statistical distributions, stuff like that, then your data scientists might work well for you. If you're not so much into the technical code, but you really like understanding where data comes from, what it means to the business, constraints around it, then your data governance analyst, or very key roles that you can move towards. And they are all maxing out around that between 130, 140, 150. Um, data scientists particularly can mean many, many different things. So just consider that. Your senior data engineer, data scientist, and data governance manager definitely steps up from there. You may not be able to move directly to those from data analyst, but it's the two-step process, and you can see the salaries are definitely climbing up with some good ranges. And at the top, you've got the data architect. So that's definitely like your data engineer on steroids, if you will. Really large amounts. And you can go beyond there, your general manager of data and that sort of thing. And that's 200, 250 and so on. But that's a discussion for another time. So to wrap up, you may be in this data analyst or senior data analyst range, being the 80 to 115 or the 120 to 140, and depending on your skill set, how you might want to grow towards managing and helping people, towards being more technical, being on a project, that sort of thing, that can help direct you where you might want to target, as well as you might be thinking, well, cost of living is ridiculous at the moment. How do we, achieve our financial goals in life? Then, you can identify those common themes that you want to work towards, and then you can consider some of the business roles you can move into. That's it. Please give us a like and comment if you want to know how I created that graph in Python, some of the PowerPoint transitions, or any just general career discussion for data analysts. Please leave us a comment. Thank you so much.